This video was brought to you in part by the supporters of the AMTV Patreon. Thank you. Hello, and welcome to the Ident Review Extra, the spin-off show that takes a look at one individual ident each episode and gives it the review it deserves. And this time around, we're embarking on a journey through the ITV Network and all the different regional stations that comprised it. And this time, it's one last stop in the southwest to take a look at Westcountry. The southwest region of the UK had been used to two different ITV franchise names as the 1990s progressed on. Firstly, from the 60s to the early 80s, it was Westward TV, with its iconic Golden Hind ship as the main logo. Then, for the majority of the 80s and into the 90s, it would be TSW, or Television Southwest, whose look was a lot more modern for the time, incorporating bright colours, some computer animation and a confident musical score. But as TSW lost their franchise rights, a new name would occupy the region's airwaves just in time for New Year's Day of 1993, and that name would be Westcountry. Maintaining its on-screen identity for just over 6 years, let's have a breeze through some of the sequences Southwestern viewers would have been treated to from 1993 up until 1999.
On Westcountry now, World Cup '94.
Over on 4, it's Sybil, here on Westcountry. Now,
A little later than advertised, there's a winter's tale to be told high up on the Dale. Hello, it's Friday the 17th of November and welcome to programmes from Westcountry, beginning shortly with Supermarket Sweep after a view ahead this morning.
A consistent theme, but does it always work? Well, back when this look launched in 1993, I think it really fitted in well with the common 90s motif of simple yet stylish. The Westcountry text is quite small and underrated, and the main focal point being a giant W, through which we can see a variety of scenarios. From crashing waves to raging flames and everything outside and in between, it's a novel concept for sure. The music as well is a short but sweet new theme, one that again is simple in its structure but very pleasant on the ears and feels connected to what we see on the screen. Now, what I've just shown you is a super small selection of the different variations that Westcountry made of this ident. There are tons more, and they can be found elsewhere online. But what I want to draw attention to is some of the more special variants, including this one, which shows the stars portion of the American flag. This was done to promote the broadcast of the World Cup in 1994, and it's great to see that even though it isn't a requirement, that Westcountry made the effort to present special, one-time only sequences here and there. My favourite of the whole selection, though, has to be the one they used for Christmas. I love seeing the Christmas tree through the W symbol, the gorgeous mix of reds, greens and golds throughout the ident, the background imagery, and the wonderful music, all of which blends together beautifully to create a stunning Christmas-themed sequence. There's not much else to say on this set. The concept works well for the most part, although you could argue certain variants may appear a little duller than others. They would be seen in the southwest for little over 6 years, when in the September of 1999, the W was retired, in favour of the star package of idents from Carlton Television. Westcountry had been sold to Carlton in late 1996, so this stark transition does make some sort of sense. The Westcountry name would only appear on the regional news programmes, and 3 years later, in 2002, the regional identity would be lost entirely. So even though it only got to operate its own unique visual identity for 6 years, Westcountry certainly gave it a good go at trying to establish itself in the hearts and minds of Southwest viewers. Those who had grown on Westward or TSW may have been hesitant for the newcomer, but a combination of a simple concept, appealing visuals, and an easily adaptable sequence all contributed to Westcountry finding its footing in the ITV network, even if it wasn't to last for long. So if you grew up in the southwest area in the early to late 1990s, you may remember that big old W gracing your television screen. And even if you didn't, I'd argue it deserves to be recognised, that even though it's far from being one of the great ident sets, it stands on its own enough to make the history books of the ITV network. And so that brings us to the end of another episode of the Ident Review Extra. If you enjoyed this look back at Westcountry, then please leave a like, comment your thoughts below, and subscribe to the channel for lots more ident related content. I've been Adam Martyn from AMTV, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Well, that does bring us to the end of another day here on AMTV. We do hope you enjoyed the programme, and a special thank you to our patrons for helping to support the show, and to everyone who's tuned in. Until the next broadcast, we wish you a good night.